Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I say Liverpool, we there. Every game we there. From on field to everywhere. Premier League, we say. All the rest is the only way. For me, for you. We chat football, eh. We chat football, eh. Liverpool, we there. Oh, Premier League, we there.
Okay, welcome to We Chat Football, channel where we chat football. And missed the show last week, but we're back here this week with a new show. Just kicking in, just making sure it goes, trying to catch up. Yes, since we last came online, then we have Arsenal. Arsenal going top of the league, while Liverpool is now in second, is sitting in second in the league. And yeah, that's a bunch of changes that happened since the last time we spoke. So if you were supposed to believe everything that you read now, Arsenal are like number one favorites. Liverpool is about to be relegated because that's how they view the league. How they view the league is that once you're off form, then you're going to be relegated. Not everybody's taking into consideration that there's only 6 games that played so far in the season. 6, 7 games, yeah, that played so far in the season. So everybody's now just all over the place saying how crazy it's gonna be right now. Yeah, but outside of that, yeah, we can touch on the lights of Liverpool if we want to, or we can touch on the lights of Arsenal if we want to. But I think I might start off at Arsenal, where right at this moment they look like they're flying. They look like they're up there. They look like they're about to hit the ground running and win the league. This would be an improvement for me personally. Hold on one second. Yeah, go with mommy. Go. Let's go. Yeah, this would be a massive change. A massive change from kind of what we're used to seeing for Arsenal so far. I think it's the first time they're top of the league in like a couple of years. So yeah, so that's a good sign for Arsenal going forward in the league so far, that they are actually top. Let's see if they can maintain that going forward. Let's see if it's going to all boil down for them. Let's see if it's Let's see. We just have to wait and see. But it's a good look. Their front line looking good. Eze is looking like a wonder signing for them. That's for sure. Eze is looking really like a really good signing for them, and it doesn't look like it's a panic buy or anything like that. He's fitting in perfectly. Look like Arteta is allowing them to, get the opportunity to spread their wings and play and push. And yeah, they're really pushing Liverpool this season, which is the defending champions. They're really pushing Liverpool. But yeah, that's on to see where it goes from here, how far they'll take it from here, and how far they can go from there. Yeah, and then we can we see how Arsenal operate from there. Yes, but at this moment in time, we're just looking at it and we're like, you know what? It's still 7 games in the season, still early days in the season. We still have to see what's gonna come out of these going forward. Like, can Arsenal maintain that this top of the table run until the end of the season? It's only 1 point. Liverpool was, I wouldn't say lucky in the beginning, but they were doing what champions were supposed to do, and that is win games. Whether that's late on or that's early on, that's what they were doing. They were just winning games. And right now, they're not doing that right now. So therefore, we don't even know what's going to happen with that going forward. So yeah, so it's that's just one of those where we just have to figure out from the, like, like, can they maintain the push going forward, or or it will be one of them where they're gonna fade off in the end. But yeah, it's only for us to see if that's gonna be the case, yes or no. But again, as I said, it's just early days. Nothing that I'm not gonna go all crazy over the top about saying that Liverpool is gonna come back and win the league. Yes or no? We're expected to, because the amount of money that we spend, and I support Liverpool, and Liverpool needs to win. That's a massive club that has to win. So that's just the whole point around all of that. But yeah, outside of that, Arsenal looks good. I mean, they started better than most at the start of the season. They look wobbly in the first game against Manchester United. Not so convincing against Liverpool, and against Manchester City. They got a late winner. Looking good. They play some strong teams so far at the start of the season. And coming out of that, they look really well. Ain't gonna hate on Arsenal going from right now. It is a couple years in this process, and I do think Arteta need to deliver at some point, and I think this might be the season for him to deliver. Now, looking over to the likes of Liverpool, would I be all annoyed, pissed off at the fact that whether Liverpool don't win the league? Yes or no? Yes, I will be annoyed. I will be pissed off, because the talent is there for us to win the league. First and foremost, the talent is there for us to do it. So I would be annoyed, and I would be a little bit pissed off if we are not. However, I'm not going over the top like what I'm seeing happening online, where a lot of people are shouting for Arne Slot out. I mean, Jurgen Klopp wasn't able to do it back to back. I expect Arne to do it back to back. Yes, we spend the money, but we spend the money doing a massive rebuild. And again, we need to find ways to win. We need to find ways to get these players that we brought in into the team, and also players that has been there from last season, which the manager is not utilizing to their best of their ability. They need to get into the squad. They need to be able to. They need to be able to kick on. And that is where I come off with this: is that Slot needs to do better. He needs to do a lot better going forward in the league. As in, he needs to get the best out of Chiesa, which is on form, and he's not playing him as much. Again, they have the data, they have the team behind it. They know why they are not pushing that much with for Chiesa. They know why they're just slowly integrating him into the whole four. They know why. However, I am not the person who is in that environment. So I don't know why they're slowly putting Chiesa in. Joe Gomez, I can understand why, because Joe Gomez is just coming off a massive injury. We can't just throw him in at the deep end. So I get that one. Mo Salah needs to get a rest. We need to put somebody in that position. So therefore, Mo Salah is turning around and fighting for a spot. I could be eating my words out after this. Mo Salah could be coming back from World Cup qualifiers looking like a superstar, and then I just look silly saying that Mo Salah needs to get a rest. But at this moment, how he's playing, he needs to get pulled out and work for his spot, because that's what I believe. I believe that everybody in the squad should be working for their position from here going forward. However, I can understand the likes of Mo Salah. I can understand like the manager not willing to allow him that luxury of I mean, I can understand why the manager allow him that luxury, because again, you have a game winner. A game a game winner like that, you will always, and I repeat, you will always give them time on the field to find the winner in the game, because that's what they are. They are game winners. Now, other parts of the field is the lights of words. Now we see where this is where Jurgen Klopp management of these new signings was, for me, world class. Once we bring a new signing in, what Jurgen Klopp would have done is allow that signing some time on the bench. Allow him to get used to the prem. Allow him to get used to everything that's happening before throwing him on the deep end. So, for example, if Jurgen Klopp was still in charge, and this is just where compare both Slot and Klopp, and then this is where it kind of breaks down. Jurgen Klopp wouldn't mess with that title winning midfield as yet. What he would do is just slowly introduce Vert, slowly allow him to adapt to the pace of the Premier League, slowly allow him to adapt to the system before throwing him in there. So therefore, when it hits December, January, then Vertus will be fully fully adapt to the league and ready to go. However, what's happening is that Arne Slot is like have Vert in the deep end, have him playing in multiple positions that is not the correct position for him to play. So therefore, he looks like completely out of place, completely lost when he's playing the game because guess what happens? He has him playing on the right, he has him playing on the left, he has him playing in the 10. It's not like, okay, then this is a set position, right? The quality, the problem is not the quality of the player. The problem is that the player needs to adapt to the style of play and adapt to the league. And the only way you can get that to happen is that you then have to turn around and allow the player to slowly get used to the country, slowly get used to the league, and playing for Liverpool, you don't get that luxury. But the manager have to turn around and allow the player to have that luxury. Yes, then the manager has to turn around and give that player. Yes, so the manager has to allow these players to slowly and I repeat, just slowly get into the groove of playing for the lights of Liverpool and for any other big team. You can't just throw them in the deep end right away. Like, here you go, figure it out. The midfield of last year that has McAllister, sorry, Subasai and Gravenberg, that should have been the midfield that started the season. The fact that we got rid of the strikers and Eketike started great. Kudos, he started great. He looked good coming in, and that was amazing that he looks pretty, that he looks like really good coming in. So all we needed to do was keep Gakpo on the left, Salah on the right. One change is up front with Eketike. We also put the lights of Sabasai, McAllister, and what is his name in the midfield, and Gravenberch in the midfield, and then turn that around. And if one of them is injured, then you use one of the players that was there last season to start the game, and then you introduce the lights of Vert in that midfield. The problem is that Vert is getting bullied off the ball a lot. Like, he's losing a lot of the ball. And yes, he's showing up in the place, in the areas that he needs to, and the rest of the team is not making the correct run. That is due to the fact that he's coming out of a system that, okay, it was a lot different than the way Liverpool play, and he needs to adapt. That needs time. That needs working on the training ground. But this is where, like, my criticism of Arne Slot start and end is just managing these players, not having favorites in the team, not having the lights off. When a player is playing bad, they're playing the whole 90. You're not taking them off. You're not making the right changes. There's too many games now this season where we're chasing the game when we shouldn't be chasing the game. The gap between the midfield and the defense is just wide open. At this moment, we need somebody inside that midfield to sit beside Gravenberch. Do we have that player? Yes, we do. It's on the bench. It's Endo. Play both of them together and play Sabasai as a 10 until Vert gets up to speed. But that's what we needed to do at the start of the season. And yes, in hindsight, it's easy to say and all that kind of stuff. But if you see that the player is struggling, you see the player struggling to that level, then yeah, you need to make changes. And you need to make changes and adapt quickly. But again, early days. I'm not a manager. I don't have a badge or anything. And if I can see it, I'm sure somebody in his coaching staff can see it. I'm sure the changes are coming. We're still just a point behind the likes of Arsenal. And again, we're going into a couple tough games. But we need to make changes. We need to make changes of how we start the game to make sure that we start the games strong, because we're starting the games really weak, going behind and chasing the game. So therefore, we have to put more attackers on the field, leave the defense open. Couple games now, we did the same thing, that we went out chasing the game, which cost us late goals against Crystal Palace, against Chelsea, late goals from chasing the game. Now, enough about Liverpool for now. We're looking at the likes of um, Tottenham, and Tottenham has started the season really good, and I'm really impressed. I know that they would have started the season. I had them down for top four this season, but I wasn't expecting them to have this great of a start of the season. And judging them, just 7 games again, they do look like things haven't fully clicked at Tottenham as yet. And once things starts to click with the likes of Thomas Frank at the helm, it could be scary times. And he could be looked at as one of the managers that a lot of team passed up on just because he was at Brentford. And they just looked down on Brentford and being like, he can't make that step up. But I mean, he moved to Tottenham. Looks like it's gonna be a good signing this season for them. And let's see. They do have an easier run in Europe. I always point that out, and that could mean that they could be pushing like deeper in Europe than expected. But we see how that goes for Tottenham. Bournemouth is for me is a shocker. Like, with all the players that they lose, I expected them to have a really slow start to the season. I expected them to be hanging around somewhere in the relegation zone, but for some reason, they're looking extremely great. I mean, at this moment, 11 points on the board. If they're looking just to consolidate the league after losing so much player last season, that's a good start so far from 7 games. 11 points from 7 games. That's an amazing start to the not 11 points, sorry, 14 points from 7 games. That's an amazing start to the season, even for their standard. Like, even if they had kept all their players that they sold, and you told them that they would have 14 points from the first 7 games, sitting fourth, they would have taken that any day, because that's an amazing start to the season for Bournemouth. We do move on to Manchester City, that is having somewhat of an indifferent start to the season, a slower start to the season. But for me personally, I expected it because they played so much games with the Club World Cup and all that kind of stuff. So I expected them to either have a slow start to the season or have a really bad end due to the amount of games catching up. Slow start. Players are trying to play themselves in form. New players coming into the squad as well. They're trying to mesh, trying to get that chemistry going. I think Manchester City will be in and around the Premier League coming the end of the season, and that could be a problem. I do think it's still going to be a 3-horse race between Arsenal, Liverpool, and Manchester City coming up at the end of the season. But we just have to watch out for that. It looks like Haaland is gonna grab back his golden boot, even though I said that I don't think that would be the case. If we sign Isak, but we're not looking as good as I thought that we would have been. We would have been. So yeah, we signed Isak, and that's about it. Nothing more to it than that. It's that we signed Isak, but yeah. So we'll see how that goes. We see who wins the Golden Boot this season. But Haaland looks like a man possessed. Looks like he's coming back for his boot, and nobody looks like they're about to challenge him this season for that Golden Boot. Another team I would say that looks extremely good so far this season, and hats off to them because they played some tough games and they actually come out with some good result this season, is Crystal Palace. They hold on to Mark Guehi, which they believe it was very important for them this season. Looks like that. Glasner looks like he's continuing where he left off last season. They beat they beat defending champions 3 times on the bounce. So that's another thing that we have to look at again is that we like Crystal Palace now is starting to look like a real bogey team for us as Liverpool fans. But yeah, they had a real good start to the season. I'm not really gonna crap on them because we didn't get Mark Guehi. They had a good start to the season. Um, if they continue on this, they could see themselves finishing in like the middle of the mid table, which wouldn't be a bad season for Crystal Palace due to the fact that they're more like a lower half table that been their best position for years. But they win a trophy and they looks like they're gonna kick on and looks like even without Eze, they look like they strengthened really well in the off season. And yeah, they're pushing on. So we'll see what happens with Crystal Palace going forward. Chelsea, on the other hand, it is a strange one. We played bad. We should have got something out of the game. We should have at least walked away with a draw. But again, lapsing concentration at the back post again from Liverpool allowed Chelsea back into the game, allowing them a win after not picking up a win in three. Then they got the win against Liverpool, and that's how the cookie crumbles right now. It is Chelsea looking in seventh, but again, another team that I did expect to have a slow start to the season or a bad ending to the season due to the fact that they played so much games last season. Yes, I know. One squad play conference, the other squad play the Prem, but the strong squad went into the Club World Cup and they went all the way to the final, winning it. So I expected that kind of start from Chelsea. Really expected that start from Chelsea to be that like in and around where they are right now. But I do believe that they will push into the top four and maybe challenge in and around for the top four with everybody else. Not for the league, but they'll be in that top four race this season. Everton, that is a surprising package for me. I didn't expect Everton to have this good of a start in the season, but I didn't expect Jack Grealish to be at Everton and looking like the player that he once was. He's been that massive creative spark for the likes of Everton this season that might have Everton causing a lot of teams problems going into the season, continuing from here onwards. They look like they're going to cause a lot of problem for a lot of these top teams in the season so far. Sunderland, not surprised. Am I like how high they are? Yes. Didn't expect them to accumulate that amount of points, but I had them staying up because I just believe that there was some worse teams over Sunderland that came up. So I did have Sunderland staying up in the league this season. Made some good acquisition in the transfer window. Team looking good. They look like a really, really, really good unit put together, Sunderland. I am looking forward for that Sunderland Newcastle game. I am really looking forward to that game because again, you know how it goes. The Tyneside Derby is always one of those staples of the Premier League. And if anybody has been watching Premier League for years, would have missed the Newcastle Sunderland rivalry game because those were some good games. You always have some good games between both teams, and the fact that 7 games in, Sunderland is sitting higher in the league than Newcastle after spending so much money, then you know it is a good rivalry to go at. Manchester United looks like they're turning things around. They're shooting up the table, right? Ruben Amorim looked like he is finally figured it out, but they have the lights of Liverpool coming up, so we'll see how that goes. But Amorim looked like he's turning stuff around, and you never know. We might see Manchester United going for a title race this season. Just saying. You might see them going in for a title race, but yeah, it's one of those. I think it's just time. I think Amarim just went in, just realized that the job was bigger than he thought. There's a lot of egos to manage at Manchester United, and it doesn't take a manager who doesn't have strength to manage that. And I think a bunch of time when Amarim came out and said that he feels like he wants to quit was not the right message to send to that dressing room. That dressing room has some strong egos in that dressing room, and you have to have a strong ego as well to let them know that, listen, I'm in charge. You're gonna do it my way, and we're gonna need to get it done. But I don't think that Amarim came off like that in the beginning, and I just believe that that's kind of what set him back. I'm just wondering if he was promised a whole new squad, but end up not getting the whole new squad, and then try to leave. But yeah, that's Manchester United. It's been like that for years now. But good to see that they're not fighting relegation this season. Um, Compared to last season, I think they're in and around the same position. So it might only get worse from here. But we'll see. Again, it's Manchester United. I'm a Liverpool fan, so I always have a close eye on Manchester United to see either how bad they're doing so I can laugh at them, or if they're doing great, then I start to worry how much trophies they're going to win, because I need to extend that gap of trophies on Manchester United. That needs to extend big. So we need one more prem to make sure that we're out and out the number one. The we have the most league titles. Sorry. Newcastle has a tough start to the season. I feel like they played a lot of tough games the start of the season, Newcastle, and I believe that that's gonna take a toll on them. But I think like the easier games are coming up for them, and I think they're gonna fly up the table that way. I know that they played Arsenal already. They played Liverpool already at the start of the season, and the only thing that the only way they can go from there is up. So, so from here, we just have to just watch Newcastle next couple of games, see where Newcastle is in the next couple of games, and then see if they will be moving up the table. Yeah, we have 10 more games to lose this year. Let's see. Let's see. The other one that I'm looking at is Brighton. Brighton for me is a mixed bag. It's a real mixed bag. Brighton, because Brighton could be one of them where they could be good on the day, or they can just look like they're just really missing that cutting edge. When I like really missing that cutting edge. Sometime Brighton. I just believe that like sometimes they look like they need a striker, and I think that's where they might end up like fall short. This campaign is that they need a striker this campaign. I look at the strikers, and I'm not impressed with the strikers that they have at the moment. But again, we know Brighton, we know the type of club they are. They will always pull something out of the bag. Aston Villa, the villains, finally looking like they're turning the corner this season. An extremely poor start to the season, and a poor start to not just to as a Villa, but also as Unai Emery. It's an extremely poor start to the season where I was wondering where this Villa is. I mean, if anybody watched my Sunday show when I was doing the game, I watched the first half, doing just a vibe along on the first half. Ollie Watkins raised questions about Ollie Watkins. Is he able to live up? Only for him to come in the second half and bag 2 goals, and then I look like a real idiot. So that's Villa, but Villa now has won back-to-back games. 9 points in. The league right now is extremely tight. It's extremely tight between mid-table to like fifth or sixth. To be fair, it's not that big of a gap. It's 3 points between Villa, that's at 13th, and Crystal Palace, that's at 5th. 3 points. Palace drop points, Villa win. That's it. A whole changes. So the league right now is really tight. It's really competitive, and that can only be good for the league. I'll say that can only be good. That with a competitive league like this, that we're really enjoying the league so far, and that's why I'm not losing my head because again, any team can lose, any team can win, but that's what make the league competitive, right? Fulham, on the other hand, is 14 back-to-back loss so far. Will Fulham be in a relegation battle? I don't see Fulham as being one of those teams that's going to be in and around a relegation battle. I don't. Um, but it's very interesting to see where that club end up Fulham. But I think they might be good enough to distance themselves from the relegation zone. I do believe they're good enough to do that. Um, for Fulham. Leeds, on the other hand, I do have Leeds staying up. It's going to be a tough fight for Leeds, but I do see them staying up. And that's as much as I can say. They gambled on Calvert Lewin. Let's see if the gamble pays off. They gambled on him. Let's see if it pays off. But I know the last game they played, he missed a bunch of sitters. So we'll see if Calvert Lewin gamble pays off, yes or no. Brentford is the other team. And Brentford is has this interesting way of playing this season. They're a real throwback to the Stoke. If you know, you know. They're a real throwback to Stoke. Or I would even say Bolton on the Big Sam. They're a real throwback. I do believe that they have enough to stay in the Prem. From what I've seen, they do have enough to stay in the Prem. It's just gonna be ugly. They're gonna survive, but it's just gonna be ugly. It's gonna be one of them where if they're playing a rival team of yours, you're gonna enjoy. But if they're playing your team, you're gonna be like, no, this is just diabolical football because it's 100% set piece that they're working on. But again, as I said, it can change. The manager might just look at it and be like, when we play certain teams, this might be the best way to get results, and we're working on it that way. When they play certain teams, the other way of that is that we hit them in transition and stuff like that. Yeah, and stuff like that. So we might have to just hit them in transition. But that's an interesting one for Brentford. Nottingham Forest. I don't know if they sack what's his name as yet. I don't know. Ange. I don't know if Ange got sacked. Last news I hear is that he could get sacked, but I haven't heard anything coming out of the club whether that he got sacked, yes or no. But there is no manager bones. I'm just trying to figure out if manager bones doesn't exist anymore. If these new set of players don't experience manager bones. It's been like one of them where a manager gets sacked and the new manager comes in and everybody just plays exactly the same. No changes, nothing. Forest, though, is headed in the wrong direction. Like completely in the wrong direction. They have not picked up a win in 5 games. That's heading to relegation. And that's the thing with Forest right now. It's looking peak. It's looking like sacking Nuno might have been the right thing to do from the club due to what I hear was happening behind the scenes. Sacking Nuno might be the right option. Hiring Ange is definitely the wrong one. At every level, it is the wrong decision to make. Like they should have never hired Ange at any point. So many other managers out there that they could have got that with this crop of players would do better. But they something about Ange that they like and they wanted to go to go for Ange this window and they went in. But to be fair, it is a bad decision. It is an extremely bad decision to hire Ange this season. Um, then the other club is Burnley, and I don't see Burnley. I don't see Burnley staying up. I honestly don't see them staying up because again, one, the squad isn't good enough, and two, I don't think Scott Parker can fight a relegation battle. Like some managers are just better if they got a bigger job than getting such a smaller job. And I don't think like Scott Parker is capable enough of fighting off relegation again. I think that they could go down this season. And the only way that they might stay up is that another team is gonna be a lot worse than them. And I don't see how that's possible for another team that's above them in the league end up being worse than them and getting relegated. But again, it's a long season. It's only 7 games in. We still have 31 games left to play, and a lot can change. A lot can change between then and now, but it's kind of very difficult to see another team actually what do you mean being worse than Burnley. West Ham, another team that can't get a good man that can't get a new manager bones. Nuno went in and they look just as bad. Just as bad. And it's the fact of the matter is that I think the owners do not know what direction that they want to take this club in. They had David Moyes, won them a trophy, looking good, right? Making them a respectable mid-table club. Because again, my years of watching the Premier League, West Ham has either been a yo-yo club or a mid-table club. Nothing more than that. And that's just with me watching the Premier League for years. That's where they've always been. David Moyes came in. David Moyes steadied them. They were in a relegation battle when David Moyes took over. Steady them, get them to mid-table, win them a trophy. What did they do? Sack him. No, he went into Everton, same position Everton is in. Now Everton is looking like a solid mid-table team. Why they wanted a more progressive style of football. That's what they want. They wanted something more progressive. Now they get the more progressive, they're going down. Every time this happens to West Ham, every time they feel like a manager gets them to settle into mid-table, they sack him for something more progressive. They sack Moyes twice for something more progressive. Every time they sack him, they looks like they're going to get relegated. And here they are again on the same train again, look like they're going down. Then the game next week that's coming up is going to be a massive game for them. Because it's a relegation 6-pointer so early in the season against Brentford. And if they lose that game, that gap now is just starting to get bigger and bigger. 7 games in, 4 points on the table with the squad that West Ham have, that should not be the case. That squad with any competent manager should be able to get them further up. And again, they hired Graham Potter. Can Graham Potter go in and do a relegation battle? No, because he doesn't have the experience. Does Graham Potter fit the type of players that they have at the club? I don't even know. Honestly, I don't even know if that works. But whichever it is, we're looking at it and we're saying West Ham looks doomed. Because unless Nuno can perform some miracle to turn this around, it looks really peak for West Ham, and it looks like they could be heading down this season. And that's just the fact for West Ham this season. Last but not least, Wolves. I think this season is the writing on the wall for Wolves. You can't keep every season when a player bails you out, you sell him. Every single season for the last 3 to 4 seasons, Wolves just keep moving on the player that saves them up for big money. I think this could be the last season in the Premier League for Wolves because the fact of the matter is they decimate the squad. The fact of the matter is they haven't invested properly in the squad. Right? That's it. I don't like the forward. They have some good players in midfield, but I don't think the players that they bought players to sell on. But I don't think the manager can get the best out of those players, and that's where I just think that could be the problem. That I don't think this manager can get the best out of these players um, right now in the league. So yeah, that's it. Games coming up for the next round. We have Wolves playing Sunderland. That's an interesting one because Wolves need a win. Sunderland is flying high. Wolves need a win. We did talk about the West Ham versus Brentford. Brentford need to win, get themselves away from the relegation, get more points on the board. West Ham need to win to start pulling themselves back to safety. Burnley playing Leeds again, another relegation 6 pointer. Both teams need to win this. It's crazy that it's so early in the season. A lot of these games are must win games so far in the season. Forest is playing Chelsea, and Forest cannot afford to drop more points. And Chelsea looks like they're about to turn the corner again. And if they beat them, that could see them going in the relegation zone, dependent on the other teams playing results. Um, Fulham is playing Arsenal. Arsenal is high flying. Arsenal is going to look to pick up more points because they need to either keep the gap or not afford to drop back into second place. So they're going to look to extend that as well. We have Tottenham playing Villa. Again, Villa is on 2 on the bones. Tottenham has started great this season. We'll see how that works. And then, yeah, let's see. There's some interesting games coming up because I really want to watch that one. We have Brighton playing Newcastle, where both teams are sitting on 9 points. Both teams, if they want to keep moving up, need to win. This game is a must win for Newcastle because Newcastle need to get back into Europe again. Because again, for me, it's very important for Newcastle to qualify for Champions League again to prove that they can spend that money and they can do it. It's not just one season in, one season out kind of thing. Manchester United is playing Liverpool, which is going to be a mad one on Sunday. It's going to be a really good one on Sunday. I'm really looking forward to that game on Sunday because again, we have to bounce back, and what better game to bounce back in versus Manchester United, and see if we can smack another 7 past them. We go. Everton is playing against Manchester City, so again another Merseyside team playing against another team from Manchester at the same day. I don't know. Everton sometimes I don't know which Everton is going to show up, and I don't know which Manchester City is going to show up on that one. Then we have Crystal Palace playing Bournemouth, which Bournemouth is on fire, like literally on fire. So too is Crystal Palace, who just lost their first game since in a long while. And both teams have started the league looking amazing. And yeah, those are the games coming up this weekend. Let me know what you think. Let me know if in the comment if you really do think that people are just overreacting over Liverpool form so far. How excited are you of how tight the league table is after 7 games? Nobody's stretched out ahead, and nobody's actually too far behind in the chasing pack for relegation. Just let me know what do you think about all of that. I do believe that it's a good season. It's shaping up to be a very excited season, and it's not going to be for the faint of heart. And we're going to see a lot of flip flops online. You're going to see them. They're going to come out, whether they're sporting Adidas, whether they're sporting Nike or Reebok. You're going to see a bunch of flip flops online going from one extreme to the other. Because guess what? I do believe that that's what the Premier League is going to bring this season. Due to there is a lot of games that is very competitive this season. Due to the fact that the gap is not as big this season, which shows it's not a great this season. A couple teams started off really well. They can kick on because they show that they have kicked on from previous season. I do believe that it might be one of them where we're looking at maybe one of the greatest seasons of all time, where the team that might win it in low 80s, maybe 70s. We might see another 70s Premier League win again. And it's not that there are bad champions, it's just that the league might be a bit stronger. And that is good. It's good for entertainment. We pay a lot of money to watch the English Premier League. So at least if we can get some real competition going in the league, hey, I'm down for that. Right? Even if it's at the expense of my team dropping some points here and there as well, I am down for that as well. So big up to everybody who join us. And again, like, share, subscribe if you're new. We're trying to get to what do you call it? 200 subscribers, right? We're a far way away. We're just a good 86 more subscribers away. We're working on it. We're trying to deliver some content to you guys. And if you like the content, yeah, like, share, subscribe, and catch you on the other one. Peace.
Oh, I say Liverpool, we there. Every game we there. From Anfield to everywhere. Premier League, we say. All the rest is the only way. For me, for you. We chat football.